Will Jason Todd continue to be a puppet of the mysterious Halpern Project, or is he willing to fight back? Let's find out together, shall we, as we hop into the pages of Task Force Z, issue number 3. So then, picking up directly from where the last issue had left off, Redhood and his team had managed to recruit the zombified Deadshot Floyd Lawton for their ranks. Unfortunately, zombie Deadshot did what a live Deadshot was most known for and shot the first person he saw, in this case being Jason, meaning that he's dying and Dr. Shelley has to rush to try and save his life. Also, hey, surprise of surprises, there's now 2 Dr. Shelleys, Amelia and Delia Shelley. They're identical, and I think we all know what that means. Twins, potentially clone twins. The new year just started, and that's the dumbest joke I've made in all of 2022. Seriously, no one under the age of 30 gets that reference. When emergency surgery isn't enough to save the life of Red Hood, they decide to shoot him up with a bunch of that experimental Lazarus resin. Jason, of course, made a big deal about not wanting to get hooked on the Green Dragon in the previous issue, but now they've taken away all choice for him. It's while Red Hood recovers, zombie Deadshot actually comes to apologize to him. Of course, Jason doesn't see it that way. At first, he thinks he's come to finish him off. It seems that like all the other zombie members of Task Force Z, Floyd's memory is all over the place. He doesn't quite remember how he died, though he's certainly pretty heartbroken and dejected to realize that he went from one suicide squad in life to another suicide squad in death. He assumed that once he died, they couldn't do this to him anymore. All of this, of course, makes Jason feel like a real piece of shit. He knows that Floyd had actually died on good terms and had somewhat redeemed himself. Now he's back again doing the bidding of an extra governmental organization. In fact, this says a lot about Jason's character in general. He never considered a situation where anyone would ever actually want to stay dead. Maybe he should start respecting people's wishes, and maybe that creepy guy from Pet Sematary was right. Sometimes dead is better. Now, once Jason is back up on his feet again, he ends up having a very unexpected little field trip with Hannah. You'll remember her as the member of the team who seems totally nice and normal while in the light, but becomes a horrifying cannibalistic monster called the Sundowner when in the dark. Hannah wants to escape the Halpern facility and go get some pizza, with Jason becoming her chaperone, and after a while it ends up becoming kind of a weirdo date. We learn that Hannah is actually much older than she appears, old enough to be Jason's grandmother. In fact, it seems that the Sundowner monster that lives inside her has slowed her aging. But, plot twist, the creature itself is sick and dying. It got injured during the events of the A-Day gas attack, and now Hannah fears that if the creature dies, she'll turn to dust. This is why she ended up hooking up with the Halpern Project and their mysterious leader, Crispin, a man of which Jason still has not actually met face-to-face with yet. Seeing as they are having a good share session, Jason decides to open up about his own reasons with staying with Task Force Z. He says that he used to be a real follower, used to have all these ideas about justice and even vengeance. Now he doesn't really know what to believe. Jason is certainly open to the idea of forgiveness and redemption for a bunch of these supervillains, but maybe he has a hard time giving it, especially to the likes of someone like Bane, who hurt him in his life when he killed Alfred. And perhaps redemption will always be just out of reach for those who are also not able to give forgiveness to others, but especially to themselves. This little outing proves to be more than enough to inspire Jason to take a harder stance with Crispin during their next meeting, though it's also implied that Hannah was put up to doing this by the doctors. Jason says the only way he's going to stay the leader of Task Force X is if he's allowed to run the team his way. First things first, he wants more Lazarus resin for his other teammates. And I mean, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Their previous 2 missions were huge busts, mainly because they couldn't keep their own zombie nature at bay, and Jason had to do everything himself. And hey, speaking of missions, their next one sounds a lot familiar, doesn't it? They have to go back and get a bunch of stolen Lazarus resin and also fight the Cult of the Cobra. Jason actually starts to think to himself that maybe this whole Halpern project isn't actually some sort of governmental force like Task Force X is, but instead Task Force Z is really more of a pharmaceutical company fighting their competition. And I mean, when the product they're fighting over is something that allows you to cheat death, yeah, it makes sense that a lot of people would be very invested in that sort of tech. Now, at first, the mission actually really starts going Task Force Z's way. These zombies are more themselves and able to do more complicated tasks. The only problem is the more cult members they take down, the sicker they get. That's because after their last run-in, the Cult of the Cobra spent some good money to hire super assassin Cheshire to help watch over their shipment. Cheshire, being a lover of poisons, decided to coat some of the cult members with her own signature blend. Now they're all dying yet again, and it's everything Jason can do to try and get to the pills inside of his costume. At first you think, oh, it must be an antidote for him, right? But no, quite the opposite. It's actually an antidote for Bane, who is able to get back to himself long enough to crush Cheshire, ending the fight. Here's the thing though, Jason isn't done here. Bane is more or less back to himself, which means the two men can have a real conversation. Red Hood asks Bane about his own memory and if he knows why he's going to do what he's about to do. Bane simply answers back, ah yes, Alfred Pennyworth, before Red Hood kicks him off the roof. It's after that Red Hood ends up going rogue, which means the Doctor twins have to warn Crispin, as Red Hood is coming for him next. But who exactly is the mysterious Crispin? Well, as the comic comes to a close, we discover it's none other than Harvey Dent Two-Face. Man, he sure got an important new job, didn't he? And so that was Task Force Z issue number 3, everybody, and honestly, I was thinking about quitting this book as it wasn't really doing a lot to keep me invested, but this issue actually does manage to pull out some interesting ideas. I like to see Jason question the ideas of mortality and the fact that he himself has come back from the grave so many times, but maybe other people don't want to. Original character Hannah the Sundowner is actually a lot of fun with some interesting lore behind her that I hope we see get explored some more in the series. Hell, I was not expecting this book of all books to be the first to carry on the whole Bane killed Alfred storyline, but hey, surprise, surprise, they did, and Rosenberg actually has a good grasp on Bane's voice, zombie or otherwise. But of course, the biggest and most interesting revelation of this issue is Two-Face being the one behind Task Force Z. I always expected the character was capable of more than just his regular coin-flipping gimmick, and Matthew Rosenberg seems to agree with me. Now I'm very much invested to know how he got this gig, and what exactly he himself is working towards. Overall, I'd feel comfortable giving this one a 7.5 out of 10. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.